it was great to have the week off and get back to work on Monday. We had a chance to rejuvenate mentally and physically, and for the guys get a couple days over the weekend to get home or just to relax. I think we needed that. Love where we are as a team, and know that there's a lot of growth ahead of us. Obviously, we have a challenge this weekend with a good opponent, and we need to show up and play better than we did before the bye. And I got full faith and confidence that we will. Ole Miss is a team that's that's been known for their offense, which continues to find ways to score points and move the ball with Coach Kiffin. And they have a defense that's improved and has been very disruptive to this point in the season. So, we expect, again, a tough opponent, a tough challenge on Saturday, and we're excited to have the opportunity to prepare to play at our highest level, too. So, love where we are, love where we're headed, and excited about the game this weekend. And with that, I'm happy to open up for questions.
Health, how are you guys? I know you had Jalen Mahoney and Castillo miss last game.
Yep.
You've had some other guys out here and there. Can you just give us a general update?
Yeah,
please?
so Jalen's back and hasn't had any setbacks, so we're expecting him to be full go. Let's see here. Xavier Castillo is back. He's cleared his protocol, and barring any other setbacks, will be available and ready to roll. Braden Babst is back at practice now, so he's had a couple of days here yesterday and today, and we feel good about him. We need to keep him progressing, similar to Devin, where as you're working someone back, availability may not be for 60 snaps, but he'll is right now on track to contribute on Saturday. We're excited for that. Quincy Skinner is back. He's had 2 good practice days, so he's, barring setback, considered a full go, and we'll obviously be excited to have him back. Who else, Chris?
Miles Cecil and Ben Cox.
Yep, both back. So this is good. Hey, let's have more of these. The
Davion
bye week
Davis.
helps us. Davion is still more long term, and so he is progressing. But that one isn't yet week to week, so he's still got a ways to go yet. We'll be patient with him as he works back. I know there's no one that wants to be out there more than him, but we need to give that thing time to heal up and make sure he can go full go. So, but the bye week was good to us in that respect, to get back again mentally and physically, and so we're excited to get these guys back and be at full strength.
Lane Kiffin had an interesting comment yesterday that he thinks they haven't played as well offensively in the second half because teams are dealing with their tempo by rotating a lot of guys in. Is that a priority to try to, now that you've got some guys back on the defensive line, to try to rotate a lot, and is that one way to deal with the tempo?
Well, anytime you have the luxury of bodies to play or people to get in the game against a tempo offense, you're going to have the ability to stay fresher longer. That'll be the goal for us. We've been doing that this year defensively anyways, and we've played a lot of guys. For us, that just some of that depth is young, and so we have to continue to grow that depth, and in critical situations in some positions the 1 and the 2 may have very little separation, so whoever is up, and in others we need to be very specific who we have in the game at certain times. But we definitely want to play a lot of guys on defense, no matter who we're playing, but against a tempo team, you get rewarded by keeping guys fresh.
Talk about playing a defense like Ole Miss. How do you see you guys implementing Mike Wright in some offensive situations? Obviously in Alabama it's tough too when you end up being down in the second quarter, but how do you see you guys putting a skillful guy like Mike in the game?
Well, I don't know that I'd be a good coach if I went into too much depth and detail in answering that. It's something that we're spending time on now. I think the challenges of it are, where do you insert and maybe run the risk of redirecting the momentum of a drive, but also how do you get the 11 best players on the field? And we think Mike is one of the best 11. He just happens to play a position where it's a little bit more challenging to rotate. And I don't see it as a rotational role. I see it as a role that would be more situation driven. But we have to give time for those tactics to develop. And so something we're working on. When it kind of comes to pass for us and we use it in the game, time will tell.
Along those lines, how have they been so disruptive defensively at getting in the backfield? They went second in the SEC, I think both tackles for loss and sacks per game.
That's mine. That's mine. Well, it's designed, so they have a really good design where they're pressuring a lot and moving a lot and generating that disruption, but also they're long and athletic, and so combining those two things, you have a chance to create negative plays and steal momentum and drive. And we're gonna have to be really good at identifying those pressures, picking them up, and again playing to our identity independent of what they're doing. It is a challenge, but it's one that we're excited for. And anytime that you get to play against a good defense, our offense wants to show up and do their part in helping a winning performance.
Last year, Ole Miss was one of the most successful games for the defense. What needs to happen to kind of repeat that sort of performance and keep it close in that same way?
Well, we're not interested in repeating that performance because it wasn't good enough. So we look to build upon what we've learned this season to this point, capitalize on those moments where we played well on defense, but also learn when we've conceded yards and points, and look to put together a performance that makes it hard on them to move the ball. And again, we haven't talked at all about last season, nor will we, and nor did we leave Oxford feeling good about any part of that. This is about winning games, so we gotta play better. But I'm excited for the guys to get a chance to do that.
Clark, how nice is it just to simply play a game at home? I mean, with the bye, it doesn't feel like it, I'm sure, but 28 days is still a nice long time between being in your own stadium.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful for, and Teresa, maybe you have some insight on this, some nice weather maybe on Saturday too, because when we've been at home, it's been raining or the lightning delay. No, it's going to be great. I think what we want to do is put on a great performance in our home stadium, and we haven't yet done that this season. And we had a chance to against Elon, but we sputtered in the second half, and then obviously against Wake, the turnovers and just we got behind there early, and we're not able to close the gap in time. But we're excited to get back home, and it's nice to play a home game, and we'll carry that energy to the field for sure.
I know Alabama wasn't the result you wanted. In the past, that can be kind of a soul-crushing game. How did your team manage the disappointment of losing the way it did and get its confidence back and get ready to play this one?
Well, those are painful experiences, and I don't think that you ever, honestly, I don't think you ever get over them. I think that when you go through that, you kind of leave a piece of yourself there. But I also see that as healthy, and that evolution requires that. Some of the result, the frustration around it is compounded just the nature of the point differential. That challenges the ego, and that challenges your ability to think and see clearly. But it's our responsibility to pull up above the emotions and to understand how we were responsible in that result, what we can learn from that, and no matter how we feel about it, the more quickly we can move on from it with a heightened sense of self-awareness, and where places that we need to adapt and grow, the more that we can use that experience for good. And it starts with me. I mean, I don't look at those games or that game on Saturday as anything other than a part of our journey, a necessary part that we need to experience in totality. And it's important that we live in it for 24 hours, that we get through it, and then we get right back on the climb towards the vision and the mission of the program, because nothing about that experience stole from us this mission. It just is a temporary challenge that we have to stay committed to, each other, and stay committed to the vision. And again, like I said, that starts with my ability to not come in with emotion, but come into it with some wisdom and support a team that I believe in, and support a team that's 3-2, that has a lot of great football ahead and a tough SEC schedule ahead. But again, that's why we sign up for this, and we're excited for it. And, this group is past it, and they're a resilient bunch. So we're gonna, we were able to get past that one quickly and move on to Ole Miss.
Lane Kiffin is known for being pretty aggressive when it comes to going for it on fourth down and things like that. Does that change your defensive approach when you know that they're likely to be aggressive, and does it change your offensive approach?
Changes defensively, just because there are certain times and certain situations, game situations, or areas of the field where third down becomes second down, because that there's going to be a fourth down snap. And so that might mean that in a certain situation or a certain field position, that in a let's just say a 3rd and 9, where you might normally run out your pass rush and your exotic third down designs, you may stay more committed to a base look where you're expecting a run play, and so it does challenge you that way. But we'll have our strategies in place for that. Offensively, the opponent's fourth down tendencies don't impact the way you approach. Offense is about kind of dictating the terms, and so we'll stay committed to our plan, and those moments where we're going to choose to maybe go for it or maybe punt it, or those things are unique to our strategy and our identity, so that won't alter.
Bradley Mann isn't on the depth chart, and I saw that he went down against Alabama. How long do you think he might be out for? Is he going to just redshirt at this point?
He'll be out for the season, the remainder of the season, and he'll end up with season-ending surgery. So we obviously, anytime that happens, it's hard. But I think Bradley also got some great game experience this season, and I think showed flashes of the player that we recruited, and so we're excited for him to recover and have a full recovery and stay on course to be a playmaker for us. So tough losing him, but also excited about what lies ahead for him.
Clark, Ole Miss is, obviously they run the ball really well, but they've been a little loose with the ball. They've had a really good job of recovering some of those. When you can get the ball out, how crucial is it to slow down this up-tempo offense by getting your hands on those balls?
No, it's mission critical. I think we've talked in the past about high-powered offenses, how limiting possessions becomes essential, right? Because that means the more you can control the game with your offense, or control possession of the ball with your offense, finish drives with touchdowns obviously being an important part of that too. Generate possessions for your offense by creating turnovers, and obviously winning field position battle in special teams. You're defending a great offense with all three phases, and turning the ball over becomes a great opportunity for us to tip the field. I believe we're at 14 games now, having created a turnover, and so we'll look to carry that identity forward for sure.
Along those lines, like all 5 games, I think they've had a 100-yard rusher, one of which is the freshman who just came in. What does that kind of tell you about the focus of their offense this year, at least early in the season?
Well, one of the things that I have been impressed with is just the various ways that they use to be effective and move the ball. Like they will take what you'll give them, and so if they feel like the run game's there, they're going to be committed to finding the yards and points through the run game. Obviously, they have a good quarterback and explosive skill at the receiver position too, so they're not afraid to put the ball in there as well. But they use that tempo to get you on your heels, and a lot of times those chunk gains come after explosive sequences or sequences where they're applying pressure with tempo, and you have to dig into your reserve in those moments and be in the right place at the right time defensively. A couple of plays in their last game, it was just like on the back end of that pressure and that tempo, they split the box, and the back doesn't even have to change course. It's just a vertical puncture. That's something that we can defend against, but you have to be totally in the moment as that pressure mounts from the tempo to be where you needed to be. So again, impressed with them on offense. Our ability to defend them is going to be about a focus on us, a focus on what we do, our design, our structure, and an execution of that structure. And and then, like I said, utilizing the other two phases as well to limit possessions.
Anything else? Thanks, everybody.